lotion your skin. The love is right. Let them have their time. And I have this notion. Let's keep these wheels in motion. In motion. And it's worse you thought I did not know. Did you think I would let it go? Oh no. And in time, yes, I'll think it's absurd. But until then, you'll leave your words. But lay on. Now it's time to defend your lies. The lies you've been feeding me.
Good evening, race fans. How the bloody hell are we? This is the GT Alpha's GT3 World Championship final round, coming to you live from Spa this evening. And there is still positions up for grabs. So it'd be interesting to see where we all end up at the very business end of things. At the moment, Bodyval leading the way in that pro class. Needs to finishing first in the sprint and the I've got the name of it, feature race will guarantee the championship goes to him and to ART. Obviously, just not the team championship. They're not going to win that. We will go through who is what and what is who and everything else very shortly. In fact, let's get cracking with that. That's how the grid looks at the moment. And yes, I'm aware the thing doesn't fit. Something went a little bit wrong with my fixing today. But shall we have a look at the standings? That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? That's what we want to have a look at. If I can find the right button. Right, that's how we look currently with the pro class. Body Val on 1-5-5-6, 36 points clear of Black Flag Stormfly. And now they're 50 points guaranteed for both drivers for being in Lobby 1. Maximum 25 for the sprint race and 50 for the feature race. So, Stormfly is going to have to outscore Body Val by 36 points. That's quite a task, considering Body Val's pace. But if Stormfly can outscore by 36 points, Stormfly will become champion. Tech Racing currently sitting in third on 1-5-0-9. I think that top three no one can catch the top three. I think as it is, the top three is as it is, and what won't change unless all three of them, of course, disconnect. And the Truth has an absolute stonking race, then possibly creeping into that top three. What order they're in, we are yet to decide. Tech Racing can still nick second. He needs to outscore Stormfly by 11 points today. So again, a lot of riding on this at the moment. Moving down the order, that's what the Pro-Am classes look like. Wooly at the moment absolutely running away. They're over nearly 100 points clear of Avalon at the top of the Pro-Am class standings. I think someone might be getting a bump up into the Pro classes very, very soon. But looking really good for Wooly. So at the moment, it's going to be an ART win in the Pro and Pro-Am classes. Now, considering that they're winning Pro and Pro-Am, the fact that they're not winning the team championship is a bit of a mind boggler. But again, Black Flag sitting there second, comfortably second at the moment. Again, 90 points clear of Willard, who's in third. But Aero, and we know how quick Aero can be, not too far behind, but will need to score some significant points, I think, to break into that top three and knock Willard out. So 2 Black Flag drivers in the top 3 there in Pro-Am. Moving on to the wrong one. We want the amateur class first. There we go. Webson's is dominating amateur class above Phoenix, with Smoggy, Chip Reese and Jazz breaking up that top 5. Webson's and Phoenix absolutely dead head to head on 5-7-3. Whoever finishes ahead of the other is the top dog in the AM classes for this World Championship. Reserve standings, Nuke absolutely dominating, 1,079 points. That's the kind of score you'd expect to see in the pro classes anyway. The fact that he's a reserve just goes to show just what a performance that is with that kind of points haul. Cullum in second, I think uncatchable for reserves, and Endorphin also for Sector 7 in third position. And last but by no means least, of course, is the team championship. Looks like this Black Flag, 4,136 points. It's going to be an absolute... It would need to be one of the worst days in racing for Black Flag and the best days in history for Sector 7 for that to change. Amigos and Sector 7 round out the top 3. Victory pace some way behind. So the top 3, I think, will remain unchanged there as well. Looking good. Looking good all around, I think. So, grid-wise, we're going to reset the lobby in a minute and whack the grid on. But we've got some really, really good drivers out there today. Some really top-notch drivers. That's what the grid's going to look like. All Christmassy, especially for you. Body Val on pole. If Body Val can stay there for both the feature and the sprint race, then the championship is a foregone conclusion. Tech Racing's in there, of course, Slipstream. Stormfly's got some work to do. Stormfly currently down in 8th place. Needs to get a lot closer to Tech Racing by the end of the race. So we'll need a good performance in the sprint just to improve his lot for the feature race. Of course, the feature grid is set by the finishing positions of this sprint race. Slipstream in 3rd, TJ in 4th. So a good Black Flag splattering just to secure the... Secure money penny, just to secure the team championship in that top 5. DeTruth in 6th. He always seems to be in 6th on the racetrack, 6th on the grid. It's a position I see him in an awful lot. Let it rip. 7th, Stormfly 8th. Blah blah blah. Anyway, we're going to get this lobby reset and then get the track, the grid done, shall we? So, without further ado, let's do this. Change event settings, get that reset, just so we're back to the beginning. And when they get all ticked in, we'll get them all lined up and ready to go, set by host, of course. over the next couple of weeks, details for the next GT Alphas series will be announced. That will be starting in February. Sign-ups will start in the new year, but details will be announced over the next couple of weeks for that one. Very different format for this next series. Of course, the GT3 World Championship will return at the end of 2024. So if you get your title now, you get to keep it for a little while. So just while they're all ticking in, we'll start getting everything. We'll get some of them done. So Bonnie Val on pole, of course, and Bonnie Val's been on pole an awful lot this season. Been quite a good haul of points from pole for Bonnie Val. Slipstream, good performance from Slipstream to get up there in the top 3. Going to have work cut out though to get the job done from there, I think. Bearing in mind that he's got Tech Racing ahead, he's got Bonnie Val ahead. Who are we looking for? Nuke is going up there. The Truth. Supply, they're still waiting for some more people. I think everyone's checked in. I think everyone that's supposed to be here is here. There's 14 out of the 15. We'll get the grid set anyway. They've got a couple of minutes. Right, so Bonnie Val on pole, joined on the front row by Tech Racing. Where is Tech? There he is. Tech Racing, of course, from the complete other side of the world. So it's all dark and dingy for us. It's nice and bright and sunshiny. For him, it's in the middle of the summer, of course, as well. TJ, where is he? There he is, running that BMW M6. He starts on the second row, just behind Slippy. Nuke heading up row 3, and he's got the Truth with him. Behind him, another Sector 7 driver in Let It Rip, if he is here. I don't see Let It Rip there. So we'll carry on, shall we? Stormfly, we know he's here. He will be. He's supposed to be on row 4, but he's going to tuck in behind Nuke if Let It Rip doesn't make it. Behind the Truth if Let It Rip doesn't make it. That would be more accurate. Then we've got Aero behind Stormfly. Then we've got Wiggy, the Welsh Wizard, of course, also in that BMW M6. Behind Wiggy we've got Wooly leading the Pro-Am, and I'll tell you what, with a 50-point bonus for being in Lobby 1, I think we can safely say he's going to absolutely smash that Pro-Am class today. Avalon comes in behind Wooly. He's got a bit of work to do if he wants to. He's going to try and stick with him, of course, but he'll get a big points haul as well for the Pro-Am class. Newton behind them, Canulautis, and then Cullum. So we're missing Let It Rip. Oh, he is in. He's just got in. Is he ticked in? Yeah, he is ticked in. We can now add Let It Rip to the starting grid. Talk about cutting it fine and leaving it to the lastminute.com. So Let It Rip will slot in behind the Truth. There. Right, there we have it. Right, we'll check everyone's are ready to go. We can get rid of the grid now. There we go, because we've got it all set up. Hit the ready check, and we will get cracking with the first race of the proceedings. I think everyone's ready. We'll go with it. Let's just go with it. All right, let's get cracking. This is the sprint race here at Spa. 20 minutes. Let's see how everybody gets on. Really been looking forward to this one. Let's get all the information up on the screen that we need, and then we'll go. Let's get back to this kind of area. Right, so we'll start with the Truth in 6th, and we get a good view behind as well. Into La Source is it's always tricky into La Source here because it's a tricky corner, quite a low speed corner. You want to kind of just give everyone a little bit of room. We'll have a look at some of the liveries because there are some awesome tributes from everybody out there today, and it's quite Little tap in the back of the truth from, I think that might have been Stormfly, but everything good. Everyone through cleanly. No one looks to have died, and we are away. Body Val heading straight into Eau Rouge and Radion, into the Kemmel Straight, up towards Lacombe. Always good to get a good slipstream here. Really good opportunity for an overtake running up the hill. Is Tech Racing going to get a bit of a run on Body Val as they head up towards Lacombe for the first time? Body Val, of course, running that AMG GT3 with Tech Racing just behind in that GTR. Nuke and TJ battling it out. Slipstream dropping down to 4th. TJ not making the headway we expected, dropping down a little bit to 6th place. So we've got Slipstream maintains 3rd place. The Truth up to 4th place. That's a great little move from him to get himself up there. I'll tell you what is missing. That is missing. There we go. Race timer. The Truth up to 4th place. TJ running in 5th. Stormfly already making headway, moved up to 6th position, and he's tucked right in behind TJ there as they come round Pouillon down towards the final sector of this racetrack. It is a really, really tricky final sector. Stormfly sporting busting open livery regulations with Christmas livery, but being that it's Christmas, we'll let that one go. Looking very, very festive is that Porsche 911. Round they come. They've got one more right-hander and then they're into Blanchimont for the first time. Another really good opportunity to use that slipstream and really close in on the cars behind you. Or, sorry, in front of you, should I say. Even suppose you can close in on the cars behind you if you go really slowly. Can Stormfly make that move on TJ? He's tucked right in behind. Certainly getting a run on him down towards the bus stop chicane. TJ still holding him off though as they come into the braking zone. Who's going to be bravest? Are they going to go side by side? TJ defending that inside line. Stormfly looking for the old switcheroo. Doesn't happen. He's going to have another go up the Kemmel Straight. It's all about the exit out of the source now. Can they get the perfect exit? Already breaking out of the slipstream though, by the looks, or try to break out the slipstream. Down to first gear into the source they go before they get on that power blasting up. You want the car now to drift over to this right hand side up towards the pit wall as you flick it left into Eau Rouge and then flick right into Radion, keeping the foot firmly planted on that accelerator, particularly in these conditions. Perfect conditions for flat out through that little sector. Heading up the hill, he's not close enough on the back of TJ to make any inroads. TJ got a good little run out and is able to open up the gap a little bit, making it difficult into Lacombe for Stormfly to make that move. Let's have a look at the front runner. So Tech Racing ahead of Bonnie Val, but Bonnie Val not giving this up, and they're going side by side, these two. Absolutely side by side. Body Val sticks it right up the inside there and heading down to Speaker's Corner, back in the lead of this race for Amigos Racing Team. He is the current championship leader and will be crowned champion in little over an hour's time once this is all done and dusted, if nothing goes horribly wrong. Front two though already starting to edge away from the rest of the pack. 1.6 seconds these guys, they've kind of done this all season, these two. Tech Racing and Body Val have been very quick. The Brit and the Aussie either side of the planet, and but yet showing such equivalent pace. Their slipstream, the New Zealander in Poland, he's got a little bit of a train behind him. We can see here, if we sort of flick back through this train, you've got the Truth for Sector 7. How you doing, Hockers? Good to see you, my friend. TJ there in 5th, holding Stormfly off. Stormfly there in 6th. Nuke not too far behind in 7th. Aero there in 8th. That's a lovely little train. Only 5 seconds separates Aero, running in 8th place, from Slipstream running in 3rd. And that is a really long train of Slipstream. With Slipstream at the head of it. Maybe that's the problem. He's got Slipstream written above his car, and everyone thought, oh yeah, that's where we go for a bit of Slipstream, and that's what's happening at the moment. They're all just kind of pulling each other along. It's going to be key when they get into the Kemmel Straight. You've got to be really close to the back of the car in front if you want to get any benefit from it and have the opportunity to make that overtake. And here we go, out of the source. TJ looked like he was having a go then at the back of I think it was the Truth in front of him. No, it wasn't Aero. Nuke, sorry, in front of him. But actually, Stormfly benefits a side by side through Radion and Eau Rouge. That is absolute battling. Now, is there going to be a penalty for Stormfly for track limits there, or was he just within the margin of error? He certainly did get through, but that BMW, the two BMWs either side, look at that, one from Sector 7, one from Black Flag, both putting Stormfly under immense pressure into Lacombe, and Nuke with a fantastic move gets him back ahead of Stormfly. We'll have a look at that move actually. So here we go. This is Nuke here. You can see this battle raging on as we go into Lacombe, and just with the braking, it's a three-way sandwich. And the fact that they all got through pretty cleanly and pretty safely is a wonder, really. But great move all round, and through he goes. That's Nuke back up to 5th. The Truth has worked his way 4th. Currently, as the championship standings look, Bonnie Val leads the championship. He leads this race. Tech Racing, 2nd in the championship. 2nd in this race. 3rd in the championship, Stormfly. And he's just lost out. Oh, there's a spin. That's a spin from Stormfly. What happened? We'll have a little look and see if he was caught or if that was just some fisticuffs there. So he comes in that Porsche. He's on the power. Does he get clipped? It looks like he got a little tap there from Nuke. Now, we're going to have to look at that replay afterwards from a perspective, but it looked to me that he got a tap from Nuke and that spun him out. That is going to be an absolute massive blow. A massive, massive blow for getting second, maintaining 2nd in the championship. So I did say Tech Racing was 2nd. He's not. He's 3rd in the championship at the moment, Tech Racing. I think Stormfly is 2nd, if I remember rightly. I'm trying to remember it all. Yeah, Stormfly is currently 2nd in the championship, but this is a massive blow because Tech Racing is outscoring him quite significantly at the moment, so he does really need to work his way back up. Now, there might be a potential penalty there for Nuke because it certainly looked like he caught him, but that's for the stewards to decide. Looking down the order, there's Let It Rip running in 15th place. He's already 8.7 seconds adrift of Avalon Shadow, also running in that Porsche 911. He is 5.6 seconds behind Stormfly, who's got a bit of work to do. He's got Colum from ART just in front of him. He tries to make a little move into the source, has to tuck in behind, will use the slipstream, I would have thought, up the Kemmel Straight and make that move on Colum. Canulautis from the United States carrying a half-second penalty in that BMW M6. He's 3.1 seconds up the road, 4 seconds ahead of Woolley. Woolley, of course, who's about to secure himself the Pro-Am Championship at the end of this race. Well done to ART, you've got to say. 2 individual championships they're going to secure today. Just couldn't find the 3rd runner to earn those points for the team championship. There's Wiggy running bang in that 9th position. Quite comfortable at the moment in that BMW. Sporting, of course, the Welsh Dragons on the windscreen, as you would expect. Currently 1.4 seconds behind Aero from the United States, who is at the back of that kind of DRS train. It's Aero there. Half a second up the road is Newton from Black Flag. He is just about 6/10 behind TJ in the BMW M6, with Nuke there running in 5th. He's got his teammate The Truth 2 seconds up the road, so that gap's starting to open up a little bit now as Slipstream and The Truth are running almost on top of each other in that chase down to the top 2. Talking of the top 2, there they are. They're still all over the back of each other. Bonnie Val leading Tech Racing, of course, by just half a second, but they're opening up such a big gap now to the rest of the field. Bonnie Val putting in a 2:17.0 fastest lap. Tech Racing get a good runner into the bus stop chicane. Can he make a move here? No way through. Bonnie Val cutting off any angle or any opportunity to get through. Got a sore throat. Hope I don't lose my voice before Christmas. Into the source they go. Tech Racing is going to look to be tucked right in behind. We'll have a go on board it, because go on board with Tech Racing, and then we'll whoever crosses the line at the end of this lap, we'll do a full on board lap with them as we heads into Eau Rouge. You see that little flick to the left, bigger flick to the right. Just have to be a little bit careful because you're in the dirty air as well. Remember, he's getting a very good run on that AMG on Bonnie Val. Is there the opportunity for the overtake? Which way Bonnie Val going to go? Bonnie Val opts to stay on the outside. Does try and move across, maybe a little bit too little, too late. Tech Racing gets it done under Slipstream and takes the lead of this race. I know they did touch there. There was a little touch-a-roo between those two. Let's see how that pans out, because you can see here that there's Tech Racing makes the move on Bonnie Val, Bonneville sticking to that outside line. Tech Racing under braking. Just nose ahead. Side by side through Lacoon they go. Little touch on the back there, Bonneville. I don't think there's that much in it. I think that's more of a racing incident than anything else. But they're still on top of each other and still racing hard. Although saying that, he has lost 1.1 seconds to Bonneville, so that might be something he chooses to have the stewards look at. 2.5 seconds back to Slipstream. He's got to Truth for company, both sporting that pink livery tribute, which is absolutely awesome, and a bit humbled by it all. Not comfortable with that kind of thing, really. But thank you, anyway. But looking really, really good in the AMG GT3 is Slippy at the moment. Currently running in third with his new teammate. You may or may not know that Slippy is joining Sector 7 at the end of this GT Alpha series. So that's his teammate behind him at the moment. How long can he keep him behind him? Has the Truth got a little bit more pace to find to maybe nick his way up into that top 3? Talking to Sector 7, there is Nuke running in 5th. He's got TJ for company, 3/10 behind. Nuke looking pretty strong at the moment. He has been strong all season, absolutely dominating the reserve class and with significant points. And he would actually be sitting, had he raced in the pro class, he'd be well inside that top 10 with those points. So the extra couple of races that he's missed, I think he would have been there or thereabouts challenging for the championship, would have Nuke. So it's disappointing he could only race as a reserve, but who knows? Who knows what happens in the next Alphas series? Anything can happen. Excuse me. There is TJ running in 6th position, with Newton running in 7th. Right, I said I was going to do an onboard, and I will do it on the next lap. We are 12 minutes in. We're over past that halfway point. We don't need to look at tyres and fuel. We know everybody's running the soft tyres. Plenty of fuel to make it to the end. You'd be silly to run anything other than soft because they will last the full distance. There is Newton. Newton getting involved in that battle as well. Can these two work together actually? With a little bit of bump draft, a little bit of bump and grind to see if they can get themselves past Nuke and up into that top 5. Maybe closing the gap on Slipstream a little bit, maybe, and putting yourself in a challenge for the top 3. You want to get the best finish possible, of course, for the feature race. Feature race is 40 minutes. There will be pit stops involved. You kind of have to plan your strategy well, but as it stands at the moment, looking pretty good there. Wiggy up 1 position, up to 8th place. He's ahead of Aero. 2.5 seconds is the gap to Newton. Tech Racing with a 2:16.999 goes in that sub 2:17. Finally gets to sub 2:17, but we with the 2:17.7, looking pretty racy there in that midfield. 1.4 back to Aeros, carrying that little penalty, and you'll see here it's quite devastating, the penalty here. We'll see how good it is. Joe, they're absolutely dominating at the minute. It looks like nothing changes. It will be Bonnie Val taking the Pro Championship, and it will be Wooly taking the Pro Am Championship. So yeah, really, really good performance from Amigos. Fitting, and you can see there just how much time he's lost. Half a second has cost him almost 2.5 seconds in time to Wiggy. It's an absolutely devastating penalty. Yeah, I'm doing good, Paul. How are you? Right, let's go on board with Bonnie Val for a full lap here. So come through the source. You want to flick the car to this right-hand side and hug that pit wall as you head into Eau Rouge. Flicking it left, you see just the tiniest of turns, and then a bigger turn right as you keep your foot firmly planted up the Kemmel Straight. You're going to be having a quick look in your mirrors. You see there that you haven't got a car in your slipstream. The gap is 1.3 seconds, so it's working out quite well at the moment. He isn't giving Tech Racing that extra bit of impetus to get him up the hill. Looking for that 100-metre board, you get on the brakes into Lacombe, turning it right, flicking it left straight away before you plant your foot firmly back on that accelerator and head down towards this the right-hander, which takes you down to Bruxelles. Round Bruxelles you go. And you have to be so patient with that hairpin before you flick it left into Speaker's Corner. Just a lift before you get it turned in and back on the power. Heading down to turn 12, Pouillon, where you look for that 50-metre board. 50-metre board, you give it a little dab of brake. get that inside line and then let the power just drag your car round the corner of Bouillon as you head down towards 13 and 14 Campus Corner. Turn 13 is right-hander down into third gear. Careful not to hit those little bollards on the inside, and again there for 14 as you head down to turn 15 and Stavilo. This is a good hard brake. Second gear, you want to hug that inside line and use as much of the road as you dare without touching that gravel before you head into Courbe Porfiera. And then of course Blanchimont, which is the long run down to the bus stop chicane. How about that, remembering corner names and everything. Here we go. So a little bit now. This is flat out unless it's wet, and then you're going to have to lift for that little left-hand flick into the bus stop chicane, all the way down through the gears to first gear, get that massive rotation in, and you just have to be a little bit cute on the way out. Don't get too brave with the loud pedal before you straighten up, and off you go to head down to La Source again for the start of lap 8 here. So, as it stands, the gap 1.6 seconds. Bonnie Val now starting to find a little bit of pace, a little bit of time, just to get Tech Racing off his back. Tech, though, not giving it up, and they still are pulling away from everybody else. 4.5 seconds, the gap back to Slipstream, who still has the Truth for company. They're pulling away from Nuke. They've pulled a gap of 1.7 seconds from Nuke, but the Truth is doing a really good job sticking to the back of that AMG. Can he make a move here as they head up the hill? He's certainly close enough to have a look. He's having a look round the outside. Slipstream decides to go for the inside line. How's it going to work out for him, though? In the end, he doesn't push that move too hard, and the Truth stays ahead. So not really defended that well from Slipstream on that instance, but going to be another opportunity to get back at him, particularly with the power of that AMG. It's a pretty powerful car. The Truth getting himself into the top 3. Nuke, the gap 1.9 seconds, but his concern at the moment is Newton all over the back of him here, vying for a place in the top 5. TJ's dropped down a couple of places, so he's handed the baton over to Newton, who's putting the pressure on the back of the US driver. The Dane, of course, really pushing that GTR to find some extra pace, to try and find a way past the, I think it's the Genesis that Nuke's in, if I remember rightly. It is the Genesis, isn't it? Yeah, it's the Genesis. Of course it is. The only driver actually running that Genesis as well in this series. So getting good performance out of that car. Round they go and ready for a good little pull on the Slipstream. Oh! And Newton gets it all kinds of wrong coming out of that turn. If you watch here, you can just see his back wheel. He good run down there. He's getting a really good run on the back of Nuke. You've got to bear in mind, he's in dirty air. Gets on the brakes, on the inside there, but on the outside, he just takes it a little bit too far, gets a little bit too brave with the loud pedal, and the front of the car, or the back of the car, steps out, and it's gone all very wrong for him. He would have lost quite a few places. See there, he's down to 9th position. So that promotes Wiggy up to 6th, but the gap to Nuke now 1.8 seconds. Nuke can breathe a sigh of relief. He hasn't got a car breathing down on the back of him. TJ 2.7 seconds back in 7th, gains a place, of course, because Newton drops down. There's Aero in 8th. 9th is Newton. Wooly running in 10th. Stormfly has not been able to fight his way really through the field. He's past Cologne, he's past Canulautis, but he's got 1.4 seconds to catch on Wooly. He's got little more than a lap to do it. In fact, a lap in which to get this done. This will be the final lap of the race. So close to it. So it's a shame actually that Stormfly, he's given up a lot of points. He could potentially lose 2nd of the championship if he doesn't improve his lot. He's certainly going to have to do much better in the feature race. We will have to, obviously the stewards will look at that after the event, but it looked to me that there was a little touch, and it did unsettle Stormfly's car as they went around. I think it was in Puam that it happened. So yeah, final lap of the race for all concerned. Bonnie Val going to bring this car home in the lead. Let it rip. 9 seconds. He's been pretty much 8 or 9 seconds behind Avalon, and kept that gap there. Avalon making a move on Colum. Gets that move done. Does he make it stick into Lacombe? Yes, he does. He gets that move, makes it stick. Can he make up that 1.7 seconds on Canulautis? He's just ahead. He's not too far ahead of him. You can see him there. There is Canulautis just ahead of him. He's closing that gap and closing it fast. So Avalon looking to make a move on Canulautis and just improve his position slightly for this race. This is, of course, the final lap. Bodival coming down towards the bus stop chicane for the final time in this sprint race. With a 2:16.969 on that last lap. Absolutely pushing it to the limit for another fastest lap for Bodival. So Bodival will take, and with this, I think will secure the championship. Is uncatchable now to become the first inaugural GT3 World Champion. Tech Racing home in second. That's big points and a big blow to Stormfly. The Truth home in third. Slipstream home in fourth. Newt comes home in fifth. Wiggy sixth. TJ seventh. Newton coming home in eighth position. He's not. He doesn't need to refuel. Ninth for Aero Woolley, leading the Pro-Am drivers are coming home in 10th. 11th for Stormfly in the end. He couldn't close enough on Woolley in that final lap. Canulautis, he's ahead of Avalon coming into this final corner. Avalon's got one last throw of the dice to try and make a move into the bus stop chicane. Can he get this job done and move up to 12th place? No, he can't. Canulautis gets through. Is he going to be under pressure from Colum? Is Colum going to make a move on Avalon Shadow? Drag race to the line, and Colum nicks 13th place on the line from Avalon Shadow with Let It Rip coming home in 15th position. What a finish there from Colum. We'll watch that again here if we can, as we watch just coming around that final corner, drag racing to the line, but obviously race over, so we can't watch any more of that. Well, how about that then? Let's go through the full thing. I need to take a photograph, obviously, for thingy purposes. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, that. Right, so it was Bodival, who I think we'll find will be your championship winner, wins that race from Tech Racing and gets the fastest lap to boot in that penultimate lap. The Truth coming in third. Slipstream holds on for fourth place with Nuke in fifth. Wiggy in sixth. TJ in seventh. Newton coming home in eighth position. Aero beats Woolley out to ninth place. Woolley in 10th. Stormfly pushed and pushed and pushed on that last lap. Could not close on Woolley, finishes in 11th. Canulautis in 12th. Colum in 13th. Nicking it on the line from Avalon Shadow in the 911. And Let It Rip brings it home in 15th position. Wow, that was pretty darn racy, if I do say so myself. Right, we've got 5-minute break, so I'll reset the lobby first, so 5 minutes. We'll tell them all it's 5 minutes. Yeah. Right, so just want to change the grid, of course. I change the settings, of course, should I say? Should probably load the correct ones. That's the right one. There we have it. So this is the final race of the Alphas GT3 World Championship. As I said, we'll be back in February with a whole new racing series. Why is there rain? Well, there can be rain. It's random weather. How about that? I was not expecting that to happen. Let's have a little look. Well, we're looking at... Let's bring out the weather radars for all to see. There we go. This is the weather radar. This is how it's looking at the moment. Well, that's the current time. So, yeah, interesting. Let's, so that's for over the last 60 minutes. Is it going to be wet when the rain starts? It certainly does change things dramatically. Absolutely dramatically. What's the track going to be like when we finally do get out there? But looking at current time, it looks like it might be drying. But we'll have a look. We can probably zoom out later. We'll wait and see. We will wait and see. Right, first thing we need to do, get everyone checked in, and we'll set the grid. Well, I'll set the grid for what we got thus far. Back in a couple of minutes. We are back. and we're pretty much ready to go. We've got the grid all set ready. Let's see if everyone else is ready, shall we? Never expected it to be a wet race, but that's the beauty of random weather, is sometimes you do get a wet race. Yeah, Stormfly, I've got to say, I mean, I was a bit surprised that TJ was fighting quite so hard with you, bearing in mind he's your teammate. You know, Nuke, he's not a teammate, so you'd expect him to fight, but yeah, it was a bit strange that TJ was fighting you quite so hard. Don't quite understand that, but, you know, it is what, hang on, we've got a hang on note. Why have we got a hang on notice? As he realised he hasn't got the tyres. He's checked in. Right, I'm going to go. Everyone's checked in. Everyone's ready. Right, he's ready. Okay. So, final race of GT Alpha's GT3 World Championship at Spa in the rain. Let's have some absolute stonking wet racing. Now, it'll be interesting to see how long the rain stays as it is and whether it dries out and we find, or of course, strategies out the window. People have been practicing, it's been dry, strategies out the window, but we've got rain now, so it's going to go all kinds of, well, especially could go all kinds of wrong with the wet weather. Braking points change, of course. Let's see how we fare into turn one. Let's go on board again with Wiggy in sixth. Sixth is always a good place to start. So we can see as they head down who's going to get a good start, good traction in the rain. We'll have a look at who's running. I think everyone's pretty much going to start on intermediate tyres, but we'll have a little look. Much slower start than before. We've got a few cars making the run in. Good stay around the outside is the best place to be. Look at that, TJ making little moves as well. Everybody having a little go. Everyone vying for a position, trying to find a way through in this wet weather. I hope these cars aren't planning on going side by side through Eau Rouge. It would be insane in this weather to do that. You're going to have to brake here. You can't take Eau Rouge flat. Not in these conditions. Absolutely through safely. Oh, is Stormfly about to lose it? Stormfly back end goes. It's gone horribly wrong for Stormfly today. That, I think, looked like driver error to me. We can have a little look, see. We'll have a look at the replay, but it looked to me that he just he got on the power, or was he nudged? Was he nudged by Newton? Oh, that's another thing we're going to have to look at the replay for. Was that a power issue? Was he nudged by Newton, which spun him out and put him in 14th position? If it can go wrong for Stormfly today, it has gone wrong for Stormfly today. Right, let's have a look at tyres and fuel. Everybody starting on the intermediate tyres by the looks of things. Nobody gone full wet, although it's on that cusp of full wet. Column's gone for full wets. He's already busted his way up to 6th. Is that going to help him out, being on those full wets? Because if you're looking at the weather, you can see it's just diving now into full wet territory. 6.5 seconds worth of penalties for Avalon. My word, he started on the racing softs. That's why he did not go. He took a gamble. He took a massive gamble, and that has gone very wrong for Avalon. What can you say? So, full wets all round. I think it looks like it's going in that direction. Who's going to hang on those intermediate tyres? We're going to watch Colum, because Colum's on those full wets already. So, if everyone else decides to dive in and go for those full wet tyres, he's going to be in an absolute stonking position to disappear off up the road. That's really going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons. And good for ART, of course, but not so good for Body Vow and Tech Racing. The Truth has got his way up into 2nd. I wonder how many drivers practiced in the wet this week for this. Knowing that it's a track where it can rain and the weather is random in this feature race, I genuinely didn't expect it to rain. Often when you do random weather, it doesn't actually give you random weather, it just gives you sunshine. We noticed that yesterday. There was a couple of races I did yesterday where the rain was actually planned, but it didn't happen. But interesting. So it is wet. Is it getting drier or is it getting wetter? That's the question. Colum in a great position if it gets wetter. Not so much if it starts to dry out. Through there, quite wet. You can see the back end struggling as they come out of the source to get that grip. Stormfly made his way back up to 8th. He has already started to make some inroads. Now up to 7th. Can he? He's got some work to do. He's got to catch up to Tech Racing and really give himself a battle up there to guarantee second in the championship. There was only he only had to be outscored by a few points. Making the move on Colum now. Colum on those wets, getting soaked up. Excuse the pun. By Stormfly. It is moist out there, people. It is moist, moist, moist. I'm saying it loads of times because loads of people hate that word. Moist. So there we have it. Bonnie Val not struggling at all in these conditions. In fact, it's almost as though it's still dry because Bonnie Val just absolutely taking every corner flat out. Tech Racing 2.2 seconds behind Bonnie Val. Usually you see these two disappearing off up the road. Not quite the case in these weather conditions. 0.8 of a second. There's the truth. It is still really, really close. We look here. This is quite a close battle. We've got Tech Racing there in second as they come round Speaker's Corner. The truth in third. Newton in fourth. He's going to have a move looked at where it looks like he might have clipped the back of Stormfly coming out of Eau Rouge. There is Stormfly. He's up to 6th already, so he has recovered incredibly well. He's pretty good in these conditions. These conditions could suit Stormfly very well. He's a very, very good driver in the wet, particularly in that Porsche 911. So don't count him out of a potential podium finish here, and to be able to rescue the problems of of the sprint race. He's got to outscore Tech Racing now by quite a few points, I think, for it to make a difference. I'm not going. I will do the math at some stage, but I'm not doing it yet. There's Nuke running in 6th place, 1 second back, but still not far off, tacking on the back of that fight. There is Colum. He's still on those full wets, but they're becoming less and less viable as the track starts to dry. And you can see there is already a dry line starting to form, or a drier line. Not off the track, it won't be, but it certainly is a drier line than there was previously. And you can see the track is drying out. So it's who blinks first for slicks? There's the burning question. Who's got the big kahunas? Who's the one prepared to make that early stop for the slicks and get the benefit of it? There's TJ running in 8th. Wiggy in 9th place. Let it rip. Much better performance than in that sprint race. Still very wet. Still very, very wet through La Source. So maybe not quite time for slicks yet. But you can see already the weather is improving. Wooly there running in 11th. Slipstream in the pits, as is Canyon-Altis. Now, are they blinking and going early? Slipstream onto the racing softs. Canyon-Altis looks like he's doing the same. No, he's gone from wets to intermediates. So Slipstream is the crash test dummy. He is the one that's going to try and see what those slicks can do. If he can stick to the dry line, this is either going to be an absolute genius decision or the stupidest thing this man has ever done. And we're about to find out in the next lap or so. Be interesting to see if Aero at the moment, fastest man out there, with a 2:33.6. So Aero clearly loving these conditions. Avalon Shadow still on those racing softs. Opted not to. He hasn't even finished lap 1. I know, he's on lap 2. He's on lap 2 now. Why didn't he pit at the end of lap 1 and put on the wet tyres? Or is he's holding out? He's holding out, is Avalon. Now, the problem is, of course, heavy damage. Those crashes early on have really cost him. He's 1 minute 47 seconds behind. Maybe it might have been worth putting on some wet tyres. But he is... he's being very brave, I've got to say, staying on those slicks. So actually, he's probably got bigger kahunas than Slipstream. Slipstream went in and put them on. Avalon Shadow decided, fuck it, I'm just going to stay on them. Even though he didn't have enough money to buy the wet tyres, or he's too tight. Who knows? So, Slipstream's starting to look like he's catching Canyon-Altis. It's going to be a lot easier to catch him when you do things like that, though. That is not the racing line, can you? You can't park that there, mate. But Slipstream, so he's on the racing softs. We will find out at the end of lap 4 just how much quicker he is in comparison to the rest of the field. Right, penalties. Who's got penalties? None. Bonneville leading away 5.8 seconds. That's a significant gap. With a 2:27.3 on those intermediate tyres. Staying out for another lap, though, on the inters. Not quite ready to brave those slicks. Knudsen also staying out. He's ahead of Stormfly, who's up into third now. His pace phenomenal. 2:29.5, not quite Bonnie Val pace, but not too shabby. Having a little go at Knudsen potentially into, certainly as they come out of Radion and Eau Rouge. Be crazy trying to make the move into there. But he's ahead of Tech Racing, which is where he needs to be. Needs to outscore Tech Racing, but he needs to outscore him by a few more points yet. Picks up a penalty for track limits there, and to be fair, I think that's a bit harsh. It's just not going his way at the moment. But he's got Tech Racing behind him. Ideally, he wants to pull away from Tech Racing and one or two drivers just to kind of give him a cushion between them. Ideally, what you want to do is get around Newton as soon as possible. Now, the problem, of course, with Tech Racing so close to him, the penalty is just going to allow him to get swallowed up by Tech, by DeTruth. TJ a little bit further back. He's got Nuke and Wiggy for company. That's a three-way battle there between those three going on in that kind of midfield, just outside that top five. BMW versus the Genesis versus the BMW. So interesting to see what car comes out on top from those. Woolley in 9th position, still dominating the Pro-Am, and Avalon now, after having an absolute nightmare, it's going to be very difficult for him to put the frighteners on him. There's Let It Rip there running in 10th position. Now the thing is, Aero, we talked about the Pro-Am table and Willard being comfortably in third, but the thing is, Aero scores an additional 25 points for being in this upper lobby. Ideally, what Willard would have needed was a couple of people to drop out and be able to get in, but due to race pace in that last race, Aero is going to be higher up. Overtaken prohibited, that means someone's crashed. Who has crashed? That's Avalon, still struggling with that car. Absolutely struggling with that car. He's still on the racing softs. He's got significant damage to the rear. He's got damage to the front. He's on those soft tyres, and he's just finding it so difficult. Right, Bonnie Val has blinked and he's in. Slipstream, there he is. He went in. He was the first one to pit for the soft tyres. Yes, we know that Avalon stayed out on them, but he was the first one to make the decision to make that switch on to the soft tyres. He's managed to get past Canyon Altis, but has it made it significantly faster? We already know, I mean, he's significantly faster already than Canyon and Colum and those guys anyway. So you would have thought that it wouldn't necessarily be an issue for him. Now, Newton in, Stormfly in, Bonnie Valley in, Woolley in, Aero in, Tech, Nuke, DeTruth, Wiggy, TJ, they're all staying out on those intermediate tyres. It is pretty much slick tyre territory. You can... There's clearly a very dry line there. If you go slightly offline, of course, you're in trouble. It's still very wet either side of that racing line. But at the moment, it's looking pretty good. And you can see the times are tumbling and will be significantly. But the drivers we want to watch are drivers like Bonnie Val and Knudsen, Stormfly, Slipstream. Those guys are now on the slick tyres. And Slipstream has a lap on everybody on those slicks. And he's closing fast on the back of Stormfly, who's come out on fresh slick tyres. Can he stay ahead of him? That's the absolute the battle now. Slipstream having a little look as they go to Lacombe, thinks better of it, stays stuck in behind. So Stormfly, Weatherstorm, chance to get those tyres up to speed and start to make a move. Oh, does he get clipped by Slipstream there? Is this just the worst day of Stormfly's driving career? Let's have a little look here. We'll have a look from Slippy's perspective. So we can see here, no, Stormfly just gets it all kinds of wrong. He just catches a little wet patch and it spins him out. Look, you know, he knew he had to push after what happened in the sprint race, which was unfortunate. I mean, that wasn't his fault. He was clipped. He was poked and prodded from both sides throughout that race by Nuke and TJ, and he just got knocked offline and it cost him. But since then, he knows he had to push to maintain second in the championship, and it's just it's gone wrong. All that great work though under the wet conditions now put to bed. It's going to be a long day. So Tech Racing stays out, Wiggy stays out, Nuke stays out, The Truth goes in, TJ goes in. So Tech Racing currently leads from Wiggy and Nuke. They are staying on the intermediate tyres for now. Let It Rip, I think he's also staying on those intermediates. He is. Everybody else now is on the slick tyres. Now this could potentially be where we see Avalon make up some time, possibly. He's got a lot of time to make up. He's on lap 4. Everyone else is on lap 5. So he's some way behind. But there's damage there for Canulautis. There's damage there for Wooly. So Wooly, he's lost it again. He went on the slicks early, but you can see he got away with that. Absolutely got away with that. That was off-roading Wooly style. So a few drivers opting for the slicks, but not quite ready for what happens if you get it slightly wrong. Of course, the curbs are going to be wet. The grass is still going to be wet. The part of the racetrack that's not racing line is going to be wet, and that's what's going to throw you out. You have to keep it absolutely spot in that dry line through the racetrack, and that's aero facing in the wrong direction. You can't park that there, mate. So cars going off galore all over the shop. Was that another car? That's Slipstream. Slipstream losing, and he was the first one to blink. So he's down in ninth. TJ zooming on through to Slipstream, getting it wrong, getting off the dry stuff into the wet stuff, and that's a lot of damage on that AMG GT3. He's going to be well under performance now. He did actually, the fastest lap of the race was a 2:24.4. So it was the right decision to go onto the slicks when he did, and he did get that fastest lap, but as soon as you get it wrong, there's a yellow flag up ahead. That's Avalon Shadow still having problems. The damage to the car is not going to be helping either. Not a good day at the office for the German in Spain. So Stormfly up to 7th. He needs to have the best 25 minutes of his life driving on this game, because he's really been struggling. The guy he needs to beat is currently there in the lead of this race, still on the intermediate tyres. He's still on the inters. Nuke still running the inters. Wiggy is still running the inters. They're not coming in for slick tyres. Now there is Let It Rip. He's coming in. He was on the intermediates as well, so he is coming in. Bonnie Val will be the lead slick runner. Canulautis is coming out just ahead of him, always a lap behind. He'll get out of his way pretty quickly, I would imagine. But here comes Bonnie Val. He's now on those slick tyres. He's got through. He's got past Canulautis. He's the lead runner on the slicks. He is 12 seconds behind. Canulautis has opted to rage quit because it's not going too well for him. That will be a nil point for him, unfortunately. So Bonnie Val with a 2:21.5 fastest lap of the race, and that wasn't out lap from the pits. And that wasn't. It's just P next to it, but it wasn't his P lap. So there we have it. It looks like Bonnie Val could be significantly ahead when it comes to the other cars all doing their pit stops. Now, the big question is do these soft tyres, as it stands, run to the end of the race? Can they get them? I mean, they looked quite well during that 20 minutes. But of course, the tyre wear was lower. Is there still going to be another pit stop? Do we have another potential twist in the tail in terms of pitting? And it gets it slightly wrong. And you can see that even though there's a massive dry line on the track, you get it slightly wrong. You touch a tyre anywhere where there's water and it goes wrong. So that is going to cost him. That's significant damage as well to the front of his car. So that's already thrown a spanner in the works. It's all going very, very wrong for pretty much everyone at the moment. Somebody somewhere is off the track on every single lap. And I do keep forgetting to put the race time up. I don't know why it's not turning itself on. Right, so Tech Racing. Surely they're going to come in now. It's completely, well, apart from there, it's quite wet, but are they going to come in now, or do these three feel that staying on the inters is the way forward? Now, the problem with me not being able to see the weather radar, of course, is I don't know if there's more coming. They're in. It looks like they're all in. Right, so Bonnie Val, 17 seconds off the leader. 13 seconds off of Wiggy. 3.9 ahead of Knudsen. So Bonnie Val's coming in to repair. Oh, and it goes wrong going into the pits. Bonnie Val crashes going into the pits. Just check this out. And it looks like Newton did the same. So it might be dry here. You've got a dry line here. You've got somewhere to brake. But here going into the pits, it's soaking wet. And they get on the brakes and it just goes wrong. And we'll see that Newton follows him in very shortly. Bang. Same thing. So it's lucky they're going in because they're going to have to repair. So this is interesting because it changes everything. So these guys that stayed out longer on the Inters, it's proved to be quite a smart strategy, and it's proved to be smart for a couple of reasons. Number one, that wasn't too smart. Tech Racing spinning on the way out of the pits, giving Wiggy the lead of this race. If you had said to me at the start of this race that Wiggy was going to be leading on lap 8 at Spa, I would have said, hell what? And Tech Racing losing his back end. Can he keep it? Is there going to be another twist in the tail? Because now Stormfly is right up behind Tech. Tech is on tyres that are not yet warmed up. Nuke making a move on Wiggy up into the lead at the top of the Kemmel Straight. Into the braking zone they go. It might be on slick tyres, but lots of this track is still very, very wet. We have seen 7 different leaders in this race at some stage, or we will do if Stormfly gets there. So Bonnie Val has led, The Truth has led, Tech has led, Wiggy has led, Nuke has led this race, Newton has led this race. So many drivers have had an opportunity to take it by the horns. And Bonnie Val, who is your champion and will still be crowned your GT3 World Championship champion, but down in 5th, has pit twice, will go to the end. I wouldn't have thought that you would go in and make that repair then if you could make it to the end of this race on these tyres. Now the question, of course, is, well, we'll have a look at Slipstream tyres, because Slipstream's coming into the pits, but that's to repair. So he's been on the, or Avalon's actually been on the tyres that he's repaired as well. But he's crashed again. It's really not a good day for Avalon Shadow back there. But Slipstream looks like he's had some problems as well. So the track is dry, but the pit lane is absolutely soaking wet. It is wetter than a wet thing on a wet day in Wet Town, or wetter than your mum. Nuke now leads away 1.2 seconds clear. He's starting to find the pace on those slick tyres, but how long before he finds a little wet patch that spins him off into oblivion? And of course, I'm looking at the sky and I can see some dark clouds. Are we going to have another twist, and is it going to rain again? Now that would be a massive twist in the tail. Look at that, you can see the dark clouds up ahead. This could be yet another twist. So Nuke leads the way. He's got Stormfly now up into 2nd. Stormfly on a charge. Where's Tech Racing? It's gone wrong for Tech Racing. Stormfly could yet now retake 2nd in the championship. It's so exciting. I can't stay in my chair. And Tech can't get his car back on track. It's just so difficult when you're in the wet stuff. It's so hard to get the power down, particularly in a car like a GTR, like these GT3 cars. It's absolute nightmare. So everybody at some stage, Tech has spun, TJ has spun, Slipstream, Avalon, Wooly, Aero, Stormfly has spun, Wiggy, he's yet to spin. Nuke yet to spin. These guys are starting to challenge in that top 3. This could be the most interesting grid of the season, and what a way to return to the broadcast of GT Alpha's GT3 World Championship. And it's Christmas. What a Christmas present you guys are getting in this racing. Back end of Wiggy stepping out as he goes into Pluton, does hold that BMW firmly onto the racetrack, and he is 5.6 seconds clear of Nuke, who's in third. So did Nuke have a little problem? It looks like he might have done, because now he's got Bonnie Val for company. But I'll tell you what, Stormfly is absolutely repairing the errors of that first round and of the early part of this race. It just goes to show that anything can happen when the weather is not on your side. Bonnie Val making the move around Nuke. That looked very easy, actually. Very, very simple overtake. And you have to wonder if Nuke lifted off and let him through there. But I suppose if you know that there's no point trying to fight a driver that's going to make your life difficult. Although personally, I would have made him go on the wet stuff. But then the only time he'd be behind me is if I was being lapped. So I'd have to move anyway. But there we have it. Right, so let's do a full rundown, because it's all over the place. While we watch Wiggy having a go at Stormfly here, is that going to be another change to the leader? Is Wiggy going to take the lead of this race into the source? We'll stick with these. He's just done his best overall lap. Bonnie Val still has that fastest lap with that 2:21.5, but personal best for Wiggy. Still really treacherous coming out of the source. The source is still wet. There's nothing you can do about that. It's still not perfectly dry. Now, the truth into the pits. Is that because it's going to rain again, or is he making repair? There is blue skies up ahead. Right, the BMW getting a run on that Porsche 911. Gets a great run out of Rouge and Radion. Making that move round the outside. Slipping past Stormfly like he's not even there. That was a simple move. There is a bit of damage on the rear of Stormfly's car, which is going to hamper his top end a little bit. But can he make the move back on Wiggy? So, at some stage, Wiggy, Stormfly, Bonnie Val, Nuke, Knudsen, Aero, The Truth, Tech, they've all led this race. Pretty much everyone on the racetrack has at some stage been in the lead of this race. And I'll tell you what, it's not over yet. Wiggy leads this race here, the GT3 World Championship finale here at Spa in Stavelot, Belgium. Wiggy in the BMW. One of the three drivers that stayed out on the intermediates for the longest time has benefited from that decision. A lot of the guys went in, they got slicks. A lot of the track was dry. They felt slicks was the way forward. But just those few wet patches on the track, and the fact that it was so wet in the pit lane, has made a few of these cars come a cropper, and it's gone a little bit wrong for these guys. So, yeah, it's really changed it up. Whew! Sights in! We've still got 15 minutes to go, and I'm running out of Pepsi. Until they sponsor me, other drinks are available. But we do buy quite a lot of Pepsi, so if you want to send me a couple of crates, Bridvik Drinks Company, I think that's who owns you, send them our way. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Wiggy's not only in the lead of this race, he's starting to pull away from Stormfly on those racing soft tyres. Bear in mind, he's got no damage. He hasn't crashed that car yet. He could be taking his first win in GT Alphas. And I'll tell you what a win that would be for Wiggy. Stormfly in second. Still 4.6 clear of Bonnie Val. I threw a peanut in my mouth, realising. Problem is, when it's Christmas time, we've got all these little munchies around. And I've got a big tub of chili coated peanuts that my missus got them from Costco the other day. Love a bit of Costco. Other stores are available, and they keep looking at me, and I keep going, have one, and I forget I've got to fucking speak with one in my mouth. Talk amongst yourselves while I get chili coated peanut out of my teeth. Right, let's do a full rundown, because it looks like it's settled down a little bit. So Wiggy leads 1.3 seconds from Stormfly, who has been in the top 6. He's been out of the top 6. He's been last. He's been in the top 3. He's been in the lead, and now he's back in second position. It's been quite a roller coaster of a race for Stormfly. 3.8 seconds to your new GT3 World Champion, Bonnie Val, from the Amigos Racing Team. 3.6 seconds behind Stormfly. I say he's your new champion, but potentially, with what's gone on in this race, if he crashes out, it might change. I don't think it will, but it might. Nuke for Sector 7. The lead Sector 7 driver running 4.4 seconds back in fourth. He's got it pretty comfortable at the moment. No real pressure from either side. There is Let It Rip. His teammate, he's just under 7 seconds behind him. With Newton from Black Flag running in 6th position. Column for ART, I say just behind Newton. He's just ahead of Aero. He's got Aero bearing down on the back of him, running in 7th place with Aero there in 8th. 20-second gap back to the Truth. Struggled early on, had a couple of little spins. It makes it's going to be harder now to make up that difference. He's got to find 20 seconds to his teammate before he can even start thinking about making inroads further forward. Wooly, who I think after this will be crowned your Pro-Am champion. I think he's uncatchable. He's your Pro-Am champion. Also from Amigos Racing Team. Congratulations, of course, to Amigos for that performance. 30.8 seconds behind the Truth. He's got TJ for company, who at one stage was challenging for the lead of this race and was involved in that last sprint race with a little coming together with his teammate. Probably an unnecessary one as well. Tech Racing, who benefited from Stormfly's I'd say mishap. Mishap's not the right word. It was Stormfly's misfortune in the sprint race. Now finds that fortunes have switched. He couldn't get to grips with those racing soft tyres when he finally came out. He was alongside Wiggy and Nuke, the last to go onto the slicks, but couldn't get the power down on the wet track coming out of the pits, and just struggled a little bit on the first couple of laps with the wet patches in La Source and around that pit area. So back in 12th, and he's got 1.7 seconds to catch TJ, who's making a move on Wooly round the outside. Tappy. Can he hold on? He's going to go into the wet stuff if he goes out there, but he does make that stick. This battle's going to help Tech to close that gap. So it's looking good for them. Avalon Shadow in 15th place, and we've had Canulautis has stepped away from the proceedings. I think Avalon is quietly quitting there in the pits in 6th, on lap 6 still. He started on to be fair, he started on the slick tyres and couldn't get a lap in. Chose not to come in at the end of lap 1 and switch out the tyres. Maybe he didn't have them. I would have thought he'd have wet tyres for his beloved Porsche, but didn't have the wherewithal to go and do it. Right, this is interesting because Wiggy is starting to find significant pace. He is 4.3 seconds clear. We're into the last 10 minutes of the race, lap 12 here at Spa. Can't believe we're 10 minutes away from the end of the GT3 World Championship here for GT Alphas. Wow, close to the end of the year as well. How about that? But Wiggy, in a surprise, and nothing against Wiggy, he's a great driver, but a surprise considering the way the rest of the season has gone. 5 seconds clear of Stormfly, who's got some damage at the rear, which is going to be costing him time. Body valve has closed on the back of Stormfly. Still got 10 minutes to go. Tyres still looking okay. I think the tyres are going to hold out. Never got anything to worry about there. But Body Valve starting to find some pace now. The Truth currently the fastest man on the racetrack with a 2:19.2. But Body Valve trying to make that move on Stormfly. Stormfly would ideally like to keep the champion behind him, just for those extra points that it gets him in that fight with Tech. It'd be interesting actually. So Tech was second in that sprint race. It's a significant bigger difference in the feature race than in the sprint race because it's double points in comparison to what you get for the feature. So at the moment, Stormfly does rescue second in the championship. Tech has to make quite a few places up, I think, to make a difference. I have neither the time nor the inclination to do the math. I did it again with the peanuts. I need someone to take them away from me. Or get me a drink so I can wash them down quicker. Wow. How you doing, Crazy? Good to be back, my friend. Good to be back. Well, what a race to come back to. This has been... We have had... Let's count up how many different leaders we've had so far in these 13 laps. Wiggy, who's the current leader. Stormfly has led this race. Bonnie Val has led this race. Nuke has led this race. Newton has led this race. All the top 5 have led. Who else has led? Tech Racing's led this race. I think the Truth led this race as well. So that's a lot of drivers have all been in the lead here at some stage. And it's all gone insane. But yes, it's wow. Oh, it's Monkey Man Match. How you doing, Monkey? Missed you, man. Missed you. So, Wiggy. Body Valve's made his way around Stormfly. So Stormfly down into third. He's still in that side, that top three. Nuke 5.9 seconds back. But this is the man of the moment. The Wiggy Wigster. Made decisions to stay alongside Tech and Nuke on the intermediate tyres long beyond anybody else, and it's proved to be the absolute correct decision in that BMW, because the track was significantly dry enough for him to be able to keep control. He didn't find the pitfalls that Nuke and Tech Racing specifically found with getting those tyres fired up and staying out of the wet stuff, particularly coming out of the pits. And he's just been able to sail away in the lead of this race, 7 seconds clear now, as he heads up to Lacombe for lap 14. 33 minutes on the time, nearly 34 minutes, giving us essentially 3 laps, I think. About 3 laps left of this race, including this, of course, and a 7-second deficit for Bonnie Val to try and make up. Bonnie Val, fastest lap for Bonnie has been a 2:19.5, so not been able to find those extra few tenths. Now that could be, and I think it's going to be the fact it's going to that some of the track is still wet. It could be because of that. You're not going to be able to exploit the track limits and the width of the track as much as you'd like, because you've got those wet patches. You can see, as they come through the corners, there's you've got your dry line, but there's those pockets of wet across the racetrack that you have to try and avoid. You certainly don't want to be putting the anchors on when you're in them, because your car will spin off. You certainly don't want to be going full throttle when you're in them, because your car will spin off. In fact, basically, this is a job of threading the eye of a needle, so going as quick as you can in the smallest of spaces that you can. Stormfly dropping off the pace. Now, he has got damage, and that's going to make a significant difference. Bonnie Val had damage, opted to go in and repair it, crashing on the way in. But if you're going to crash, I suppose the best place to do it is in the pit lane, where you can get the repair done as quickly as possible, and it doesn't affect your lap time too much. Now, the gap between Nuke and Stormfly, that is coming down very, very quickly. Nuke's last lap was a 2:20.7. This lap for him, a 2:19.1. Stormfly with a 2:21.5. 2 seconds a lap he's losing to him. At this rate, Nuke's going to be on him by the time we get to this point in 1 lap's time. I think Stormfly could find Nuke, giving him a little bit of a push along for the final run in this race. Let's take this opportunity just to do another run through in case anything does happen. We'll see what else is happening on the racetrack. Wiggy with the personal best there going into Lacombe. So Wiggy leads by 6.1 seconds. Bonnie Val starting now to eat into that time. Is it too little too late though, with only 4 minutes left, a couple of laps left? Stormfly running in third place, 4.2 seconds behind Bonnie Val, with Nuke closing fast, 2.7 seconds. The American driver to the Hungarian Stormfly. There is Newton, he's 8.6 seconds behind Nuke in 5th. He's got Let It Rip, 2.5 seconds behind him. His last lap with a 2:18.8. Almost a second quicker than Let It Rip, so starting to open up a bit of a gap from the American driver. Talking of American drivers, there is Aero, 9.8 seconds. Much better performance from him. He finished 9th in the feature race, in the sprint race. A couple of places gained for him here. 2:19.0 for him. He's closing on his teammate Let It Rip, but he's going to have to close a lot more in this last couple of laps to make up that deficit. Colum from ART. He is running in 8th position, 7.2 seconds, 4.2 second gap to The Truth, who's running so well, and then it just went so wrong for him. 2:17.4 though on the board. For a minute there, I thought it was raining again. It's not. I thought it was raining again. It does look like there is some drops of rain out there. It looks like the track might be getting a little bit greasy again. Is this going to flip everything on its head? Tech Racing, He's got the fastest lap of the race. He's gone 2:17.0. So for him, he's found that dry line. But it is raining again. The rain comes towards the end of this race. Does this throw another complete spanner in the works? Wiggy diving into the pit. Smart move. Bonival does the same thing. What about Nuke? Is he going to come in as well? Look at this rain. It is torrential. Absolutely bucketing it down from nowhere. It was, is it raining too? It is moister than a moist thing in a moist place. Oh my God, it's gone crazy. Storm flying. Nukin. Newton. He will get in if he can. He's crashed out. Let it rip. Crashes out. Aero struggling with the car. Going past Newton. Newton there. The truth. He's slow to a crawl, 92 miles an hour. Colum, he's facing the wrong direction. Tech Racing, 2.5 second penalty, facing in the wrong direction. It's gone horribly wrong for everybody. Wiggy, 3.8 seconds clear on those inters. Going to run, this will be the last lap of the race. Absolutely last lap of the race. But sensible move from those front runners to go on the intermediate tyres. Bonival's gone full wet. Now looking at the state of the track, this might actually be a piece of genius. An absolute genius decision. Intermediates for Stormfly. He's got Nuke behind him. Nuke also on those inters. The gap now just 9/10 of a second. Can he pull away from him? We know Stormfly's very good in the wet. When he's on wet tyres, of course, we know how horribly wrong it can go on the slicks. Let it rips in, Arrows in, the truth in, Newton in, Colum not quite made it there yet. Has he decided to stay out? No, he's not even got there yet. Wooly, same problem, not got there yet. Slipstream, 4 second penalty. He was the first one to blink with the changing of the tyres. And yeah, it's gone all kinds of wrong for him. TJ, he's got damage. Tech Racing, his car smashed to bits. He can't get it back to the pits. He's gone. He's lost second in the championship certainly. Avalon Shadow, he's back out on track now on the intermediates. He's on lap 7 though. Some 9 laps behind the race leaders. So here we go. This is the final lap of the race. Bonival has closed right on the back of Wiggy in these final moments. They're 21 seconds clear. 21 seconds clear. Look at that, 64 mile an hour. It is so out there. You would not believe it. Yellow flags galore for the cars that haven't yet made it to the pits. Is Bonival just going to sit here and just sit behind Wiggy rather than take the risk of losing the car on this final lap? I know what I'd do. I know that if I'm sitting in second right now, I'm not pushing for first here. I'm not going to take that risk. But Bonival, this is why Bonival is a champion. He's going to have a go round Wiggy to take the lead here on this final lap of the race. But he's gone very, very wide. Can he hold it going into the bus stop chicane? One more braking point to go. Wiggy up the inside. Wiggy retakes the lead of this race. What a finish to this race here at Spa. On the line, it's a drag race. Wiggy on the power. Bonival on the power. And it is Wiggy from Wales that takes the win in this final GT Alphas World Championship Series. Bonival is your champion. Comes home in second though. The accolades have got to go to Wiggy for that awesome drive to finish that race. Stormfly will come home in third and will take second in the championship, in the pro class for the championship. Nuke fought valiantly to try against that top 3, comes home in 4th place. Then we've got some wait. We've got some wait for the rest of the cars to make it home. What an absolute finish, a great move from Wiggy. It was absolute phenomenal move, but bode his time so well. What a finish. Wow, just fucking wow. What a race that was. Yeah, if you haven't watched any Alphas race, and this is the first one you watched all season, I've got to say, you have been spoiled. Here comes Aero for Sector 7. Good end up finishing for him. He was 9th in the sprint race. So to make it to 5th, with some space spare over his teammates. But good finish for Sector 7, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th for them. So good finish there. Let it rip home in 6th. His teammate Da Truth home in 7th, or sodium pentothal as I like to call him, because he's the truth serum. 10 seconds back to Newton, does finally make it home. Crazy how many different people have led this race. 7 different drivers have led this race in these last 17 laps. Newton home in 8th. There comes Colum in 9th. Slipstream home in 11th. Woolley will come home in 10th. Slipstream 11th. TJ 12th. Tech Racing in 13th position. And the car's still all over the place. Still struggling to do anything. I don't know if that's him or that's just the AI, but it's struggling. Avalon Shadow will come home in he's home in 14th place. Just Woolley, who's going to win the Pro-Am Championship for ART. So it's still 2 championships for ART. But what a race that was! That I'm going to call it now. I've commentated on hundreds of races, hundreds, and this has genuinely been my favourite. This one has been all-out action, plenty to see, unpredictable, absolutely fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. What a race. What an absolute doozy of a season finale. Right, we're going to try and get some people in a chat room to talk about that absolute craziness. I will be back shortly while we try and unpick that massive craziness. Back in a couple of minutes with some driver interviews. Well, so much to pick apart after that absolutely insane race, I have to say. Loads to talk about. I'm going to jump in the interview room in a second, get some of the guys involved, and we'll have a little chat about it. I suppose we just get on with that, shall we? You are live on Big Brother. Please do not say fuck or bugger. How we doing, guys?
You said it first. Not too bad.
Well, I got to say, I know we put random weather, but I never expected it to rain, and I never expected it to be as insane as that.
Yeah,
No,
it certainly didn't have to come back.
Yeah, it came back, and it was the perfect time for the front three, but it couldn't have been at a worse time for anybody else.
Evening.
Right, I didn't want to make another. I didn't want to make another trip to the pits, but I realised I didn't put enough fuel in, so I was like, oh no, not good. So I had to put fuel in. Then realised again that I didn't put enough fuel in. So the rain did kind of add fuel save, which was it's not my style.
Yeah, because you picked up a bit of damage when you came out the first time, didn't you? And
Yeah.
I wondered whether you were going in to repair that.
It wasn't it was going into pool, and I just I think either caught the curb or just caught a bit of the wet patch that then threw me into the wall, and then
Yeah, I saw that.
tried going into the pits again, and then picked up damage on the same point of damage.
Well, yeah, because I got the replay of you damaging yourself on the way into the pits the second time, and then Newton following you into the same wall. It's insane. It was absolutely insane because some parts of the track were bone dry, and just an inch or two off the line, and cars were spinning all over the place.
It was even when the time did come for slicks, it was a case of I think it was Slipstream or TJ come in. It was like that's like it's right on the borderline. But it was a case of you might as well stay out for one more lap and see how it fares. But then coming out of the pits, you're just so slow. You want to slam on the throttle, but it is what it is.
Slippy went in so early. We're going to have to talk to Patrick Avalon at some stage because he started on the slicks. I don't know if he thought it was going to be really, really smart idea, but it went horribly wrong early on. But Slippy went in much earlier than anybody else for the slicks. And I said at the time, this is either going to be a stroke of genius or an absolute clusterfuck. And it turned out for him, it was an absolute clusterfuck because there was some, particularly La Source. I don't think La Source dried out for the entire race. I think
it did. It was just at this one point, like where you want to get on the throttle, there was a little bit on the inside, which was still kind of like on the racing line. So you had half your car on that little damp patch, and you still had half your car on the dry, but next to the curb. So that was really like fine margins to play with.
It was, wasn't it? Tech.
Yo.
It all went horribly wrong after the pit stop, didn't it, mate?
Oh, so yeah, I thought we got the strategy right, and I thought the boys were following me in and doing the right thing because I knew if I got to lap 7, I could go the rest of the way on softs.
Yeah.
So that was the plan, to do a one stopper, because when I seen Bonnie come in, I knew he was going to have to do a two stopper. So that was the plan. But then I don't know, something in the pits. It was like my car was stopped on the exit. It wasn't moving at all, and then all of a sudden it just went around. And then when the rain came the second time, I was in 6th gear, 5 traction, and I couldn't even take off.
Yeah, I mean, even after your car had crossed the line and the AI had taken back control, it was still crashing into walls. But I think the problem was that the pit lane never dried out the entire race. The entire pit lane was just awash. It was almost like a river. Yeah. So coming out of the pit, I mean, Wiggy did an absolute fantastic job because he just took it easy coming out, and it gave him that bit of a gap. And I know that Bonnie almost had him
as I was coming out of the pits. So it was really a masterclass by Wiggy to hold Bonnie off as well. So he did exceptionally well.
I did make the move at Blanc coming into Blanchimont, but I just carried way too much speed going in. Picked up the track limits penalty, but I thoroughly did not expect the almighty dive of the century from Wiggy, but he made it.
what a move that was!
There was no contact. He made the apex, and I thought, well, I'm on wet. This is like prime wet tyres now. His intermediates are going to aquaplane at some point to the run to the line. But no, that M6 obviously has very good traction.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, when I saw you come out, he came out on the inters, you came out on the wets. And I could see the the wet dial going up and up and up, and I thought he's going to catch him. And then it got to kind of Blanchard, and I thought he's not going to make a move. Surely he's just going to settle for second, right, and not take the risk. And at that point, you just pulled out and went for it. But no, I've got to say, I've commentated on hundreds of races, and this has been one of the best. But we do have to talk about Stallfly. Yeah, it didn't go too well in the sprint race, did it, mate?
That was a bit of an ambitious move, I think, on the inside, but it is what it is. I was trying to make up places, of course, and I was in a bit of a hurry. I thought I had the track already on the double left-hander, but then we had a bit of a contact and I went wide.
Yeah, I mean, it was all for you to do in the feature race anyway. And then when it went wrong for Tech, it kind of helped you, but you made it hard for yourself, mate.
No, on the feature race, to be honest, I was on for, if I can say, for an easy win. But I made a mistake after lap 6. I was already on the right tire, and unfortunately I had a spin where I picked up damage and it lost me 20 k's of top speed. Without that,
it was certainly interesting because some stage of that race, and I don't know if you guys know, but 7 different people led that feature race at one stage or another. Half the field.
It was
absolutely insane. Yeah, I mean, there was a point where anybody could have won that. Genuinely think anybody could have won that. But Bonnie, you are the GT Alpha's GT3 world champion for the pro class. Good day out for ART because Wooly takes the Pro-Am championship as well. Not a bad shout from you guys. We will get all the official results out.
So Webby gets the Tier 2 championship as well for the AMs.
Yeah, so the AM championship, Webson's. Oh, well, where did Webson's finish in relation to Phoenix? Do we know yet?
I know in the sprint he finished 3rd. I'm not sure about the feature though. So.
Well, he only had to beat Phoenix. So if he did, then that's an ART 1, 2, 3.
In best places. Yep, I lost the championship for AM. My mic even working?
Yeah, is it? So essentially, if my maths is correct, Black Flag take the overall team championship, but it is a full house for ART in the individual championships, other than the reserve, which Nuke absolutely demolished. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I think he had it won like 3 races ago. Nearly 120 points clear going into this race. So it's a good 1, 2, 3 from ART. It's been fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Thank you to everybody that's been involved in this. Thank you to Amigos, to Sector 7, to BVL, to all the teams involved, all the drivers involved, because you guys have made it what it is, and obviously the support you've shown throughout the series and with everything else that's been going on. You guys have been absolutely immense, and have a great Christmas, have a great New Year, and we will see you in 2024 for the next instalment of Alphas.
And thanks to you, mate,
thanks for putting together such a good series.
Yeah, it was fun. Very fun.
And we've learned loads, so hopefully we can do something from that.
Add on to this. What a great season 1. I mean, the racing, I think throughout, when we had 3 lobbies at the time, racing was good and clean throughout. I mean, I know I can say that I had great hard fair racing with Stormfly, Tech, TJ, Slipstream. I mean, the list goes on and on, but the tracks as well were really, there wasn't one car that was always a dominant car, GTR was good at some tracks, Porsche at some others, Mercedes at another one, so the track variation was very, very good. And of course having Andy on comms makes it 10 times better.
Yeah. All right, I'm not going to announce too much about what goes on in 2024. All I'll say is that it's a very different format for the next series of alphas, and of course we won't run another GT3 World Championship until the end of 2024, which means you hold the title for a whole 12 months.
Oh, love it.
Awesome.
We'll see if we can sort out some sort of decal for you to put on your car for it. We'll come up with some idea anyway. But listen, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to get signed off, and yeah, we'll catch up soon. So there we have it. We've heard from all the drivers. What an absolute brilliant finish to what's been a brilliant series. And I've got to say that the racing there was so close. It was fair. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'm gutted that I'm not as quick as these guys and I can't get competing with them as much as I'd like to. But thank you to everyone that's been involved with not just Alphas but Black Flag and all the other teams involved. All that's left to say really is thank you for joining me. I've been Urban Pirate. This has been the GT Alphas GT3 World Championships 2023, and without doubt, without question, it's been emotional.